curious as to what people think about the chances are that Warren's going to endorse. I mean,
Thank you for calling into the
I
Majority
would
Report.
just be
Please
incredibly
use no
disappointed
speakerphone
if
and
she
have your
does
one
not.
comment
I
or
think-
question ready.
She is going to, but I would love to be wrong.
Yeah, my pattern.
I'm starting to lean towards that a little bit, particularly after.
I still think this. I'm more and more thinking the story about that broke the unity about the conversation that she didn't want to characterize publicly, but made hay out of. I think that was a signal that she made her choice.
Then, you mean?
Yeah. And that's why everyone just wants to rewind the tape back to the snake emojis without actually talking about that moment. But
and the thing is, I was talking to somebody about that the other day, and it again was just it was in many respects just political malpractice. I mean, even if you stipulate, because it's just easier to sort of, I think, explicate this, if you stipulate that Bernie did say something that either was close to what was reported that he said, or was interpreted as that. Okay, which, frankly, I don't think is a terribly controversial statement. It's subsequent to that. We've had a lot of people write yeah, women have that concern too. It doesn't necessarily mean it's true. It doesn't necessarily mean that even if he said that was really what he was talking about. Maybe he was saying I don't think that you can win, or whatever. But I mean, I remember that day. I remember when the story came out in the morning. The story came out in the morning. There were 4, people who she had told contemporaneously or around that time that he had said something like that, which, perfectly reasonable thing. People talk. And she came, but she had 6-7 hours to decide how are they going to handle this. It's the campaign. Had she come out and said, I don't talk, people were like, you want her to lie for Bernie? No. If she had said, I don't talk about what is said in personal conversations, period, end of story. Then
Stop snitching.
Then what she gets is the benefit, if there was any, to the idea that he said that, and the benefit of I don't kowtow to, I'm not driven by your questions. I decide what I talk about. And I mean, that to me is just, it's about political malpractice. But
yeah, well, there's still time for her to do the right thing.
And I would totally love to eat my words on this, just like Ben Dixon was saying. If she endorses Bernie in a super helpful way, I mean,
well, any way that she endorses him would be super helpful.
But regardless, there's still time for her supporters to do the right thing, whether or not she endorses Bernie. And I would imagine that there is a higher proportion of Warren supporters who support her for ideological reasons than other candidates' supporters supporting them. So if you want to make good on your progressive values, it's time to get on the Bernie train. And I think a lot of them will.
I think a lot of folks will. I don't know if there's as many there now, by after Super Tuesday.
Yeah,
really.
Maybe in October there was.
Yes. But I think those people have sorted out a lot of those people.
I think what she's doing, and maybe this is unfair, but when your kid falls down and they look to the parent, whether they should cry or not. I think what Warren's doing to her supporters now is oh my God, are you guys okay? And it's really, it's cultivating a bad sentiment for all this stuff. And I don't know. I hope she stops it. I don't know. The Maddow interview was very depressing because a moment that could be about unifying progressives instead about basically scolding the mob.
Right.
Yeah. There's a lot of more important stuff going on in the world right now.
Right.
And if you thought just 8 years ago that this scenario would be happening, Bernie Sanders would be this close in delegates to Joe Biden, and Rachel Maddow and Elizabeth Warren would be set up to do something positively in terms of a narrative about it, and then that's what we ended up with.
Yeah, no, it's like the meme going around where the Warren supporters can't figure out which button to push. Similar platform guy or sexist segregationist with dementia. I think most of them can figure it out, though, and I have faith in them that they will. But also, I think there are more votes to be taken away from Biden in all of this. And these strategies are not mutually exclusive, but I think it's up to the Bernie people to pitch him as the safer choice, because a lot of Biden's support is not ideological. It is people who just want to beat Trump, and you can make that appeal to them.
Without a doubt.
And I agree that we should probably move on from Warren and focus on Biden in this moment because of what it projects in terms of strength.
And it's more people.